What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Cartoon Season. I am Tyler, and this is Animation Galore. We talk about some animation here today. Today is an anime movie. Is this the first one? The first anime film? No. Because we had Tokyo Godfathers before this. But I think it's actually the first one. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, a silent voice. We're doing a silent voice today. Fantastic movie. Definitely my favorite anime movie of all time. So, man, lot to live up to, huh? We're gonna talk a little bit about that today. A few different things I want to touch on. I'll talk about the bullying aspect. Very heart wrenching. I want to talk about how both characters hate themselves. Oh man, more heart wrenching. And then everyone learns to be better people. So a few different aspects of the movie I wanna talk about. Strap in, because today, don't normally give warnings out, but this is a movie. This is quite the film, not one that you're gonna watch if you want to feel good for the rest of the day. But yeah, before we get into it, make sure to go to the Tiger T YouTube channel or other podcast services to listen to more episodes. Hopefully not as sad as this movie. But we will get into it. First one, like I said, the bullying. Very tough when I first watched this. I watched this again for the second time to get ready for this episode. And I remember when the first time I watched this was very tough. Because, like, bullying in general, not cool, you know? Just, like, general way of life, I guess. But it happens, you know, kids are kids and kids are dumb and they don't really know the world. So it happens. I think there's things you can do, especially as a parent, to prevent your kid from being a bully. But kids are wild, man, you know. But I feel like in this movie it takes it a little too far. Some of the people here. So we got Shoya, who bullies Shoka, along with the other kids. Not cool. They're bullying her just because she's deaf, which is really weird to me. But I guess I'm not a kid, so maybe kids are that shallow of just like, because you're different, I'm gonna bully you, which is weird to me though, because like that's just so weird to me, because like I have some pretty vivid memories of being in third grade, and us getting a new student in class, similar to this. They weren't deaf, but they did speak another language. They were born in Russia, I believe, or one of those countries. You know, I'm an American, so I'm not too caught up on my geography. But something like that basically. And he didn't really know any English. He knew some stuff. You know, he could understand some stuff here and there, obviously, to enough to get by, right? But it was interesting because he was brought in and everything, and he would do work that was like kindergartner's work, first grader's work. He was still basically kind of like learning the language, learning how to write and all that stuff. But he was the age of a third grader, so he didn't want to be out of his age range. That would be weird. Whatever, right? But I don't remember him ever getting bullied. Like, again, I wasn't like his best friend. I wasn't like with him 24/7. Like, I don't remember, like, I didn't, I didn't bully. That'd be very shocking, right, for me to come out on here and say I was a bully. I don't remember anyone that I was friends with ever, like, talking about him behind his back. So, like, I don't know, I feel like we never, like, if anything, we were more drawn to him because it was like, oh, that's cool. Like, you're from another country, you speak another language natively. Like, that's cool. Not necessarily that should make you immediately popular, but like, I don't know that we ever bullied this kid for that. Or not we, but like anyone in our class bullied him for not knowing our language. Like, if anything, it was cool. It's like, oh man, how do you say this or say, but like, getting back to this movie, that's why this is like, the bullying aspect is so weird to me, because it's like, why? Like, it's so dumb, Moving on to more examples of the bullying, we got the hearing aids, you know, taking those out of her ear, throwing them in like sinks and out the window, and then eventually Shoya ripping them out of her ear and there being blood. It's like, dog, come on, like you gotta stop. This is not this is turning from not okay to very not okay. Gossiping behind her back, just like talking about her, like why, like, and then you get even further and it's like the teacher is no help. The teacher doesn't do anything. The teacher doesn't say, hey, stop that, or hey, do it. Like, it's only after something happens he'll say, all right, class, settle down. Like there is no repercussions. There is no him saying anything. There is no him talking to the parent. Like, this is happening over and over and over again. Like, some stuff you might not see because there's like during lunch or whatever, but like stuff is happening during class. Like, even if you're watching on YouTube, there is a YouTube version of this for anyone listening on podcast services, and on the YouTube version I just kind of throw up images for every topic. Normally just like screenshots of whatever I'm talking about. And right now, if you're watching, I have a screenshot of the moment right before Shoya, he's like rolling up a magazine and he's gonna use it to yell right in Shoka's ear. And that right there, again, awful. Like, it's terrible. But like right there, if I'm remembering this correctly, the teacher just says, like, he just sort of reprimands Shoya just in just a normal way of just like, hey, don't do that, or hey, quiet down or whatever. But like nothing comes of that. Like, he doesn't, like, as a teacher, I would bring him aside, be like, hey, what are you doing? Even if he wasn't even yelling in someone's ear, it's like, why are you rolling up a magazine and just yelling in my class? Like, what is wrong with you? And then even after seeing him and even other students do things repeatedly, it's like, why have you not contacted his parents? Been like, hey, I've talked to your son multiple times about bullying one of our kids and he's not listening. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then even, because I don't even mention this, even more so with the teacher. I remember me and my friend Ray, who you may or may not know, we kind of talked about this, about how the teacher was almost worse than the students. Because, like, he like called out Shoya, when it all reached its peak, right? Where it was like, person came in talking about the hearing aids, blah, 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 whatever, right? That happened. And the teacher, like, was like, oh, we all know it's you, Shoya. We all know you're the one that's been bullying her, and it's just like, why have you not said anything? You calling out a student, first of all, you putting one of your own students on blast is crazy. And then you, like, so you weren't blissfully unaware of everything that's been happening. That one of your students has been bullied by a very particular student, even though it's not totally true. There were other students that were participating, but Shoya was the most obvious with it. You knew, and you haven't spoken to this kid's parents this whole time. You haven't taken him aside and been like, hey, I know you're bullying, stop. Nothing. You haven't given him any sort of punishment for this. It doesn't make sense. You don't get kudos for this scene happening and then you calling out one of your students, be like, hey, I know who did it. It was this guy. Like, you're an adult. You are an adult. You are a grown human. And you're like, you're acting as if you're like snitching on a peer. Like, what? Like, the teacher sucks. Like, I'm glad the teacher never gets a redemption. He's terrible. And then lastly, just kind of touch on something I've already touched on briefly. I had a question of, like, students don't want to learn sign language. Like, again, like, I feel like that's cool. Like, I feel like in our elementary school, if someone came in and was deaf and it was like, hey, we're going to take some time out every day to learn some sign language. Like, I feel like that'd be, like, I don't know, I'd be into that. Like, similar thing. I remember in 5th grade. No, I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Was it 5th grade? It might have been 4th grade. Nope. No, it was 4th. I'm just like picturing all the classrooms in my head. It was 4th grade. 4th grade, lady came in. She was born in China, right? And she's a teacher of sorts. I don't remember if she was only like a Chinese language teacher, or if she taught other subjects as well, or if like she was trying to become a full-blown like teacher here in the United States. I don't remember, but she came into our class. I think she probably came into other classes as well. I don't know. But she came into our class for it was a very brief stint of time. I think it was maybe like, I don't even know. It might have been like only for like a few weeks, and maybe it was like once or twice a week. I don't remember, but she came in there more than a handful of times, and she basically like taught us very preliminary Chinese. Again, I know there's like different dialects and stuff. I don't remember exactly which one she taught us, but she taught us like how to say our names and how to write our names, and we had like very small words of like different objects of like cat and dog and tree and dinner and hello, goodbye, like very small words and everything. But like that was something that was really cool, and I feel like I was super into it. Everyone in our class was super into it. I mean, on one hand, it is like less work, we're not having to do like math and science and stuff, but like on the other hand, it's like, yeah, let's learn another language. Like, why not? Like, let's learn how to say these words. And like, no, I don't know that any of us ever use those words. Like, I don't remember. Like, I know that like ni hao is how you can say hi in some form of Chinese, but like I don't know anything else. But at the time, it was still really cool. Like I don't remember any of us ever like groaning of like, we got to do this today. I forgot she was coming today. I don't want to, I don't remember that, So it's like, it's very weird to me that you translate it here, and it's like, why do you have to learn sign language? Like, you don't want to learn sign language, like even a little bit. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of cool. Like I get you maybe not wanting to necessarily be this kid's friend, but like you're groaning more about learning sign language than you are about doing math. Like that's so odd to me. And again, I was fine with math in school, me personally, but like I'm just saying in general, like another subject that people generally have a distaste for, and someone brings in this new thing, it's like, we're gonna learn sign language. Everyone in class is like, do we have to? It's like, no, I guess not. Let's give another test. Like why are you guys complaining? But yeah, there's so much more I could touch on, but that's kind of the few examples I have of like how I feel like the bullying is so weird in this film. Not that I don't feel like this film is depicting bullying incorrectly. I just don't understand why these kids in particular, like, they're just so upset for no reason. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why are you putting so much energy? Like, if you don't like someone, just don't do it. Like, I get it because, she's making things tough or whatever, by like not really having to read aloud because of how she sounds, and having to learn sign language. But it's like, I don't know, like maybe with a kid mindset you think about things differently, but like me personally, I'm like, I'm cool with all of that. Like, why? Like, who cares? But whatever. Next thing I want to touch on is how both main characters hate themselves. A darker topic than my last one, so it's gonna be fun. Shoya and Shoka hate themselves. Let's go through why. Shoya was going to end his life in the beginning. I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that immediately. When he have like the like ripped up calendar and him like returning certain things and whatever, and him going back to Shoka and trying to make up with her and everything. When I first watched it, in the first moment, I didn't realize that until the mom was like, "You're planning on killing yourself," and everything clicked, and it's like, oh my god, he was. That's why he was giving away all the money. That's why he was selling all of his things. That's why. Crazy. And you get further into it, and it's like, it's because Shoya got bullied because he was outed as a bully. Now, this is something I've talked about. And while I do feel like he does deserve some comeuppance for being a bully, for being how hard that he bullied this one child when he was a child, I don't know that he deserves to be bullied back to the point of wanting to end his own life. I feel like it's tough because you could say that Shoka also wanted to end her life because of all this, so it's like eye for an eye, but I don't feel like that's fair. I do feel like he should be reprimanded. I do feel like he should feel terrible about himself. But I personally, I feel like there is room for amends. So I never really thought it was fair that everyone kind of turned on him in that moment, where they just made him the scapegoat. And it's like, you have all done terrible things as well. Said terrible things, done terrible things. You have been a part of these schemes. You have been like that. Like, that's not fair. Like for you to all abandon me. Like, you are not my real friends. Like, for all of you to abandon me in that moment. And I'm not saying they should have lied for him, but I feel like I don't know, if they were real friends, they would have been like, hey, I mean, they would have came to him and like consoled him. They would have been like, hey, we're gonna get through this, like, like, we're all gonna try to do better, like, not, it's just terrible. Let's just turn on him and start bullying him. Like, that's what? Like, you, not real friends, and also terrible people in general. And then he only sees X's on everybody's face because he just feels literally so bad about himself. Like, we've already talked about, he wanted to end his life, so obviously we know he feels bad, but like, he can't look anyone in the eyes. He can't, he feels like he doesn't belong anywhere. He feels like, if people knew his secret, that would destroy him. Then everyone would bully him maybe, and send him even further down the spiral. Like, he just can't bring himself to be a part of anything, really. Everyone has X's on their face. Like, they're not really there. I mean, they are, but they live in another world. It's terrible. He really has hit rock bottom because of all this, and I feel like that in itself is enough payment. I think him wanting to make up with Shoka, I feel like that is enough payment. I don't feel like he should pay for his bullying, his child bullying, with his own life. But please let me know, anyone listening to this that disagrees with me, please let me know why I'm wrong. Because I'm interested to hear the other side. But then we move on to Shoko. Shoko was gonna end her life at the fireworks. She planned on it. She walked away very calmly, very sweetly. And Shoya found her on the edge, literally jumping off of her balcony. So terrible. So we know that she feels suicidal herself. And just one thing I want to touch on, with their dynamic and how they both had these feelings at separate times. It is incredible that Shoya never saw the signs. This is something I wanted to get into because I think this is another just incredible writing, and the setup and this dynamic between these characters and how they feel about each other and themselves. Like, it just goes to show that, like, even if you've been through something similar, you may not know that someone else is going through the same thing. Because he himself, at the beginning of this film, he was going to end his life. So he knows what it feels like. He knows what it feels like to be in that dark spot. But he didn't, even though he had the first-hand experience, he didn't know, he couldn't actually see that someone that was getting close to him was feeling the same way that he felt just a month ago or however long it was. Like, that's so incredible to me, that they were able to have that flip of, like, she also feels terrible about herself and she's going to end her life, and Shoya didn't even see it. We as the viewers, I mean, I don't think I saw it. I don't think I did. So, like, that's just incredible, like switcheroo to me, to like have that be like, oh, it all makes sense now. Because we go further into her life and it's like Shoko believes that she makes everyone's life worse, everyone's life's harder. So she never blamed Shoya for this, and that's for better or for worse. I think we wouldn't blame her for blaming Shoya, but like, I don't know if that was the catalyst for all this, but like, she feels awful because she feels like she's a burden to everyone, and that was maybe exemplified in her childhood, that like first part of the film that we watched when they were kids, but then, like, even now where, like, she can't speak, so like the only way that she can really communicate is if you know sign, and if you don't know sign, she has to write on something. And whereas if she was normal, quote unquote normal, none of these issues would arise. I mean, it really makes you think. I mean, it's true too. I mean, when you see all this, it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense that someone like that with this this disability would feel this way. And then even for her to keep pushing, and it's like, her never blame Shoya, I think is like the craziest thing to me, because of her own self-doubts and her own insecurities. She just felt like, yep, it's just another, like her like feeling like she deserved to be bullied because that is her payment for putting everyone else through the ringer. How like she did feel like she doesn't deserve love, she doesn't deserve, like crazy, and like, yeah, her being bullied didn't help her own self-perception, so yes, yeah, I mean, Shoya, like I've said, he is not innocent. He does not deserve to be, he does not deserve, he should not have bullied anyone. He definitely deserved most of what he got. But along with that, I do think Shoka has every reason to blame him, has every reason to blame him for being the Kickstarter for her really deep self-doubt. But that being said, and this moves on nicely to the next topic, I do think that Shoya is genuine when it comes to his own, him wanting to make things right. I don't think, and this is proven to me, at least the longer the movie goes on, but like, I don't think that he was just doing it to make himself feel better. It's like, oh man, I really just need you to forgive me. It's like, no, I feel like yes, yes, I definitely think there's a part of him that will feel whole again if Shoka just, accepts his apology, basically. But I feel like most of him does want to get to know her and does want to, again, payment for the evil that he's done. But I think as this movie goes on, you realize that it's more so than just him, him trying to fill that bucket back up. And it's more so, oh, well, they actually have a connection. And oh, they can actually be friends. And oh, they can actually be more than friends. They actually have stuff in common and enjoy each other's company. And, that's where it kind of melds into, because even who was it? What is her name? Or his name? Her name? I didn't write it down. I did. Yuzuru. That is Shoka's little sister, I believe, right? It's a sister. And I forgot where I was going with it. I was so caught up in getting her name. Oh yeah, right, because in the beginning, she basically accused Shoya of doing this just for him. Just, you're only apologizing and you're only trying to be around here just for yourself, just to make yourself feel better about your past. And I feel like at the beginning that was true. But I think as it goes on, he could have quit a long time ago. He could have he could have ended with just bringing the notebook back and been like, all right, washed his hands with it and been like, I did all I can do. I feel good. But no, he kept coming around, and again, that's where the bond started to form, and you realize they can be friends, you realize they can be more than friends, and it's amazing. But, like I said, that does move on to the next thing, which is how I feel like everyone, for the most part, learns to be better people because of this. Speaking of Yuzuru, she decides that she can live for herself, and she's going to try out school. A big step for her. Because she felt like, I forget what it was, like school wasn't for her, and like she has to take care of, Shoya and all, or Shoka. Dang it. Oh no, just Shoko. Oh, I've been saying Shoka the whole episode, huh? Shoko. But she realizes that that's not the best thing for either of them. for her to grow as a person, she needs to be herself. And for Shoko, like you don't have to look after her. You know what I mean? I mean, you also younger than her, but you don't have to look after her. Like she can live her own life. She can make her own decisions. So it is better that they separate in that sense. And then we got Tomohiro, who bats for Shoya, and is kind of the glue of the group. He is, he's this new character that they introduced that you immediately love. He's kind of sort of the, comic relief, but he is also the very reliable friend. How because he was kind of getting bullied, Shoya stood up for him, and now he's like, man, I can have a friend, and we actually gel well with each other, and he is kind of the group of everyone, or not the group, he's kind of the glue for everyone, where he just kind of, he's there, and he makes everyone else feel good. He's a very upbeat person, and he is loyal, which is a good quality to have, and it also, helps with Shoya, because Shoya needs someone like that, to kind of get him over his own hurdles that he's still facing. And then we have Naoka, who starts to get over thinking Shoko was a wedge. Naoka is the toughest one for me. Oh yeah, I just remembered something. I'll get to it in a second. Naoka was the hardest one for me because she was like the female version of Shoya, right? And then she was the one that was kind of instigating a lot of stuff, always talking behind her back and everything. Turned down Shoya very quickly, and even throughout this movie, where the other characters we've seen have either tried to deny the bullying, or they tried to make up for it, or they tried to apologize for it in some way, shape, or fashion, Naoka never did. Naoka, she saw Shoya talk to him and saw that Shoko was across the street, and she still took some jabs at her. And it's like, oof, we're in high school now. Like you are acting like a child, and being very, very passive aggressive toward Shoko, even though all this time has passed. It's like everyone else at least pretends to move past it, and you're just still here. And then we even have the scene where they're in the Ferris wheel. That's awful. So there's so many moments where it's like, you are still like an awful person, and I feel like you need to get over this, even though she mentions that she has her own struggles. And it's like you talks to Shoko, how it's like, you're not the only one that's gone through stuff, who was going through stuff. But even with that, it's like, you don't have to be friends with her, I guess, but like, for you to actively bully someone, even though all this time has passed and you are a young adult at this point, bullying to me just seems so childish, and then for you to still, it doesn't make sense. And even though now she is the one mixed with Shoya that is bringing everyone back together, and you're still like, oh, you ruined everything. I don't know. I feel like you guys were awful people to begin with, Who's next? We got Miyoko, who stays through the tough times. Right. So she was the one who was, I think, the first one to accept wanting to learn sign language. But her whole plight was that she left. So she wasn't there. I forget if it was because of that, but she wasn't there. She left when the times get tough. Basically, that was Shoya's whole thing against her. But I do feel like her coming back in sort of like a mini version of Shoya. I think her coming back and wanting to repair the relationship and try to be friends with Shoko again, and her pretending that she wasn't in the wrong was bad, but she was one of the ones that did the most good with Shoko, whether or not it was just to put on a front. I think that she is also the one second behind Shoya that that is trying to make repairs genuinely. Then we have Miki, who doesn't sit on the fence anymore. Because she was the one that was like, oh, I've never done that, what are you talking about, it was all you people. It's like, see, but you being a bystander and laughing along when I say something negative, and like and now you pretending that you were never like, that's not as bad as actively you know, being the aggressor, but like pretending that something never happened is almost as bad. You know, like, you know that this has happened, and now you're trying to be all innocent, and you know, that's not cool. You know, but again, by the end of the film, she kind of accepts it, and she does actively try to be a part of the group, which is good. Kazuki. So the reason I laughed earlier, and the thing I remembered was that I have notes, you know, because I don't have good memory. So I what I did was I just wrote down Kazuki's name. No note after that, just his name as a bullet point. And I laughed because I remembered why. I was thinking like, oh, did I forget the note for his name in this segment? No, I wrote down Kazuki's name because that is the dude that never changed. He was the one that very, very, very quickly turned on Shoya when they were kids. He was the one that it seemed was spreading the rumors in high school that he bullied. Terrible. Like, why? And then he was also the one that was seen in the food truck at the amusement park, and he wanted nothing to do with Shoya. He was also very upset with Naoka for trying to force this to happen. So I get it, right? I get, like, you don't have to come around. You don't have to be a part of this. You know what I mean? You don't have any obligation towards this whole scenario that's happening with Shoya and Shoko and the friend group and all that stuff. You don't have to. I get that. But, like, he just never, on screen anyway, he never became a better person. You know, he never seemed remorseful for what he did. You know, like, you were supposed to be this man's friend. You turned on him like a dime. And then you also were spreading rumors. And it was for your own good, because you wanted to take the attention away from you. You wanted to make sure that nothing was ever said about you. So you immediately, as soon as you started the next school year, you spread rumors about your ex-best friend. Crazy. I'm not saying that Shoya deserves an apology, because again, he did some bad stuff. But, like, there was no redemption for Kazuki's character. None at all. So I just thought that was funny. Yaiko approves of Shoya after she realizes he's genuine. Right, so that's Shoko's mom, and immediately hates that Shoko is seeing him, because you imagine that he was the cause of a lot of her pain, and so a lot of Yaiko's pain as well. But like I said, I think in the beginning it was easy to discern it as ingenuine. But I think as time went on, you see that he is really actually wanting to be her friend and wanting to be maybe more. So I think that's also a plus for Yaiko. Not because it's like, oh, well, he's good. It's like, no. He has turned from a negative light to not just a neutral light, where it's like, oh, he came back and apologized and whatever, I guess some closure. No. Now he's actively a positive light in your daughter's life. And the reason, I mean, possibly a large, maybe even the biggest reason why she felt suicidal, but he is now actively the reason why your daughter did not kill herself, and is wanting to live a life and wanting to learn, to live, basically. Which is funny because Shoya asked the same thing about her, to like, can you teach me how to live or something. That was good. And then Shoko herself realizes others can love her. I think that was the biggest thing with her, is that, like I mentioned before, she felt like she was a burden to everyone. But throughout the course of this film, she realizes, no, there are people that can enjoy her company, can even love her. You are not a burden to everyone. Maybe the odd person here and there, but that's true about everyone. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure everyone feels that way at some point in their life, and it's usually just like mundane stuff that doesn't really matter. So it's like she has nothing to worry about at this point, because by the end of the film, she has this huge, group of people that seems to genuinely care about her. That she didn't have a few months ago, And then finally we get to the main boy, Shoya, who learns to be close to other people. We have the great scene at the very end where the X's fall off of everyone's face. And he finally learns to get close to people. He learns to have connections with people. He learns that he is not alone in a cold, dark world. He can talk to people. He can make connections with people. He can be friends. He can love other people. And he can let them love him as well. Because I think that was the biggest hurdle for him, was that he didn't want anyone to get close to him. I mean, with the biggest secret of him doing what he did, he didn't want to be outed as a bad person, not only for his own perception, but like because it's what he truly is. I mean, he's even taking it as like his own punishment. But it's like, no, like you can grow and you can move past stuff, even if you've done terrible stuff like that. You've shown that you can change, and that's not who you are. I mean, it's maybe who you were, but even so, like I still feel like a lot of that bullying was peer pressure. I'm not trying to take the blame away from him. He is absolutely to blame, but not solely to blame. A lot of peer pressure happening in that other class. But yeah, I think that is another great thing that the show does. Is I don't fully forgive everyone necessarily. I mean, definitely someone like Naoka, where I still think that even in her adult life, she said terrible things, done terrible things to Shoko. I do think by the end, in her like sort of tsundere way, she did show that like we may not be friends, but my friends who I really do enjoy are your friends, so I'll at least put up with you. I'll at least, we'll be platonic, and it's fine, and I think that's really the best we're gonna get out of her. I mean, even though again I think Shoko deserves more than just that, but that is good enough in my opinion. I mean, it's almost like they're a person where in my opinion, I'm like, if Shoko is fine with it, I guess I'm fine with it. But yeah, and again, it does it very well. This movie, very, very emotional. Some of the most emotional that I've ever gotten over a film, and also how frequently it happens. Like, it's just so much, so much more I can talk about this movie, but if I did, it would probably be a longer episode than the movie itself. So we're gonna cut it off there. So yeah, I very much want to hear what you thought of this movie. Let me know which parts made you cry, or maybe tear up a little bit. If you didn't cry, that's okay. But yeah, let me know what you think about all these characters. If you feel like they deserve the sort of forgiveness that it feels like Shoko and even Shoya has given them. How you feel about Shoko and Shoya's dynamic. Them both being at the end of their rope at different points in their lives. And yeah, that's pretty much it there. Like always, go to the Tiger T YouTube channel or other podcast services for more episodes. And until next time, be nice to one another, You don't have to actively do good things, but please don't actively do bad things. And let me know what other movies or anime or cartoons, anything like that, you want to see on here.